like, I'm drinking a smoothie. Is that acceptable for the
Yeah,
podcast?
let's start there.
Okay.
I think you can drink whatever the fuck you want right now. What's in the
Woo!
smoothie? This is Fortune, obviously. You
Hi,
all
you
know
guys.
Fortune Feimster. I'm so glad that you're doing my podcast. Thank you so much.
It's such a treat to see you, to see another person.
I know. I said when I just saw you on the Zoom thing, I was like, I'm so glad you're alive.
Same,
I
same with you.
You were saying that people aren't taking this seriously, which I
Mhm.
guess I am more because I'm in New York and
In
you
New
are
York,
more because
yeah.
you're in LA, right?
Yeah. So I think anyone in the really big cities are knowing more people who have coronavirus, and uh and we're, I think, on the lockdowns that all the big cities are, or not all of them, but a lot of them are doing the
Mhm.
lockdowns. But back home, they're just starting to kind of starting to stay home, and I'm like on my Facebook page, like on my personal page, just being like, "You guys, this is serious. You have to stay home." I'm like, I feel like the boring
I know.
nerd who's
Or the
like yelling
mom.
at
Yeah.
everyone.
Uh-huh.
But
Wait,
it's a big deal. It's a
it is
really
a
big
big
deal.
deal, but it's different everywhere, which is so
Yeah.
weird. Like it's
Hmm.
extreme in LA, right? Is it
Well,
getting like
we have the shelter in place going
Mhm.
on right now, and the mayor just said last night that this might he's predicting that this will be like at least 2 more months of us in LA having
Oh.
to stay home.
He said that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start.
There's nothing like, there's not a like, he's not saying
Right.
100% for the next 2 months. He's saying, I think the
Well,
way
it
it's
makes
looking.
sense.
Yeah.
It's spreading. I mean, it's
Well,
uh
New York is so bad right now, right? I mean,
yes, it's very bad and I was just telling you before we started that I know a bunch of people who have it and I know a
mhm.
bunch of people who have it. In fact, my oldest closest friend, this is horrible, but I just want people to hear this so they understand what's going on. Her ex-husband is 50 years old but has asthma, very healthy guy, and
Yeah.
he didn't feel well and he went to the emergency room, thank God. This was a week and a half ago,
Oh wow.
and he got worse and worse and worse, and it's unbelievable. He's in a coma on a respirator.
No
Yep,
way.
it's
Oh my
horrible.
god.
It's crazy. I mean, he's getting a little
Yeah.
better, but like, if you think
Mhm.
you're just okay and nothing's gonna, I mean, it's just you can't think that way. No matter
Well,
where you are, you just can't. He's in
yeah.
Jersey.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things that no one can assume that they're safe from.
No, you
No, it
can't.
doesn't matter what age you are, what level of health you have. It doesn't seem to distinguish between, at first people were like, "Oh, it's the old people," and now it's like, no, it's a
Actually,
lot of,
more. I think 55% are under 40 or something. They're
yeah.
saying.
So be careful, people. Take this
Yes.
serious. Stay
What are you
home if you
doing at
can.
home? What are you doing to deal with this? Because this is very hard for us to be home and not performing. And oh my God,
Yeah. Well, I am, like a lot of comics, such a workaholic.
I know
I'm
you are.
I don't think I've stopped in 10 years at least. I mean, maybe 15, from like, work, 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 job, 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 just cuz I grew up poor, and I
Hmm.
have that, like, uh what do you call it? Scarcity thing where
I
you're
have it
like,
too. I'm a Jew,
yeah.
so that's we all Jews have.
Yeah.
No matter
So
what you grew up with, you always feel like you're going to be taken away again.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so, to at first, the first like week of quarantine, I had such anxiety. I was having like chest things, and at first I was like, "Do I have something?" But I realized it was anxiety. Um,
Oh,
just
I
because
know.
it was not knowing what was happening, not and just seeing all these theater dates go by, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, and I
I,
was gearing up to be probably the busiest I've been in so long. And so you just have to sit with it and just find a new normal for a little while.
we have a similar thing on a different level, but seriously, like I got a deal with NBC Peacock to write a script, and I
Mhm.
had this, animation show that I'm working on, and this movie I'm making that you
Yeah.
were a part of, and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, now no, like, I cannot
Yeah.
believe at the height of everything.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard, but I guess the only thing we can do is have faith. Are you a person that
Yeah.
believes in God? Like, do you
I do. Yeah. It sounds so weird to
Me
be
too.
like,
I do
yeah.
too.
Because so many people, everyone has different beliefs, but yeah,
Yeah.
I do believe in God, and I'm not like a religious person at
Mhm.
all. I don't go to church. I grew up going to church because I'm Southern, but for me, it's just a personal belief. I like to think, and I'm
Yeah.
people can tell me the science behind it. I'm like, I get that too. Like, I understand. It's just more of a. It makes me feel good to think that we're
Me
being
too.
looked at looked after, that I'll see my grandmother again one day. I don't know, but I could
Do you
die and
feel
there be
like your
nothing.
grandmother is around you? Because I have that. I,
Mhm.
I have always felt like that with my grandfather, which is so weird because I
Uh-huh.
wasn't even close with him. I mean, I loved him,
Oh,
but I
really?
wasn't
Yeah.
close with him at
I
all. And I've
I was
always felt
super.
like he's around me.
Yeah,
It's
it's
weird.
interesting. Yeah, I was very, very close with my grandmother, and yeah, she was a huge influence on me, and I she died when I was 18,
Oh, that's
and I
hard.
was very connected spiritually to her, and it was the day after I moved to college, and I felt her pass away. It's such a weird thing
I
to
know.
say.
I have the similar I know what you
Yeah.
mean, and it makes you
So,
believe in stuff. It's like
mhm.
it's
Yeah, I felt
weird.
it. I looked at my watch, and it was like 10:05 in the morning, and I called my dad, and they were with her, and it had literally just happened, and he
That's
went,
crazy.
he goes, I gotta, can I call you back? Because they didn't know what to say. Like, she literally just closed her eyes, and
That's so weird. That's amazing.
yeah.
Like I so understand that.
Mhm.
I think that's why you're such a good comic too. Like you're very in touch with people's feelings and what's going on. Do you feel like
I
that helps you as a comic?
Yeah, I guess I'm a Cancer, so I take on energy. I
Yeah.
sound like the biggest
No,
LA,
I
like,
Fortune, if
hippie
you
dippy.
knew what I talk about, everyone who listens to my podcast and who like is a fan of mine knows I
Yeah.
talk like that. You're saying everything
Okay.
I've
Okay,
said.
good.
I'm a
So you're
Scorpio, so I
yeah.
say that I could be online with someone who's
Yeah.
depressed and I'll feel
You'll
depressed. Like
feel it,
it's
yeah.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I take on energy. So, I feel energy, and there's something about, like, I guess Cancers are introspective, and, not everyone, but, uh so when I meet people, in a weird way, I get a sense of who they are pretty quick.
Me too.
And I feel an energy, and I've navigated, like, friends and people in my life via this energy thing. So I guess it helps with stand up, and just maybe finding the relatable human experiences,
Mhm.
and trying to put that out in a story and make people laugh. So it's like, uh, I guess that's the part of my stand up I pride myself on the most, is people think feeling it's relatable.
And like they're friends with you, right?
Mhm.
Which is every comic's goal. And I
Yeah,
always said that to people.
mhm.
You
That
want
it
people to want to hang out with you after the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, and for me, I genuinely like people. I like to get to know people, um and I really want the best for people. And
Yeah,
so,
you're so positive. Like I've always
I
thought that
try.
about you. Well, you're not a negative. I'm negative a lot of the time just because
But
people
it's so
disappoint me.
funny though. It's so funny when you're negative.
I know. Well, I laugh when you're negative. When I see something, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, Fortune's in a mood."
Yeah, because
Because
as
normally you're
a
so
Cancer, I also get crabby.
yeah. Well, you're so fucking funny. I mean, I'll never forget I saw you for the first time with Erin. Oh my god, this
Yeah,
must have been I don't even know how long ago. 12 years. I have no idea. And I saw you on
yeah,
stage
I
and
don't
then we
know.
hung out one night, well, the girls in
Uh-huh.
LA, and I laughed so hard from you. I'm like, this girl is so funny.
Same with you. Oh my god.
Oh,
I mean, we were surrounded by some really funny
I
friends, and
know. We really
that's
are.
that's the beauty of the people that I've gotten to meet through this business is like so many talented people.
Why don't you
And
tell people where did you grow up? Like
I'm
where
from North Carolina, very small town called Belmont, and
yeah.
it was like 5,000 people when I was growing
Wow.
up. Hmm.
Did you have
Now
siblings? Do you
it's
have siblings?
10,000 now.
Oh, wow.
Um,
People got frisky.
yeah, I have two older brothers.
Oh, okay, cool. And
Yeah.
did they all live there still or
Yep, the one's in North Carolina, but on the other opposite end of the state, and then the other one lives in South Carolina. It's like right on the border, so
right.
everyone's fairly close by.
Do you feel like you were a happy kid?
Oh, I feel like I'm a happier adult, and
Real
which is where
yeah.
yeah, which is why I think my positivity comes from is because I made it through my childhood.
Right.
Uh,
You made it out alive. Forget about the
yeah.
virus.
So, the positivity comes in that I survived it. I wasn't yeah, I think I was happy by nature, but there was a lot going on around me, a lot of chaos, and
Mhm.
my parents split up when I was 12. And
Me too.
oh, really? At 12? At
Yeah,
12?
that's a
Yeah.
tough age. Yeah,
Yeah.
same exact age.
I was about to start junior high is what we had
Mhm.
then. Now it's middle school, but it was like seventh through ninth grade. And
Mhm.
so everybody just kind of started doing their own thing. And I was like, I'm 12. Hello.
I felt the same. I'm like, "Where's my dinner?"
You're like, guys, I'm 12.
And then you're just hanging out by yourself in your
Yes.
bedroom. That's what I did.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time by myself uh through junior high, high school, because my brothers were older. My one
Mhm.
brother was starting college, and the other one got his license, so he was like, peace out.
Oh, forget it.
uh and my mom got a boyfriend that lived like an hour away for the next 5 years. And so it was just I was left to my own devices. And
We
I
are
think
so
some
similar. That's
yeah, you have
exactly
that.
what Yep. It's exactly my situation.
Yeah.
My sister went away to college and my mom dated my stepfather. So I just
Hmm.
felt alone a lot.
Yeah, so you're just kind of it can go two ways, where you either kind of become a piece of shit and and you go, get in trouble all the time,
Yeah.
or you kind of become responsible because there are no rules and you want
Mhm.
rules. So
Yes.
I took the responsible route. So I was like, I could have been partying, I could have been staying out late because no one was there to check on me except my grandmother.
Same exact. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I used to just
Yeah.
order food and just take care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom was a teacher, so we there wasn't a lot of money, and I had a roof over my head, I wasn't in
Mhm.
poverty. But it was just just like that southern poor where it's just like, now don't y'all touch that air conditioner. No, this is not an air conditioned day. you
I know
know,
it's
like that kind of poor, not like I'm
yeah.
eating out of the garbage can. Uh,
Don't keep the lights on kind of porn, not yeah. Like
yeah,
we can have yeah, like the meat is once a week. I know what you mean.
yeah. So or we'd like be sitting there and the lights would go off and you go, ah, she didn't pay the bill. She didn't pay the bill. Okay.
I love that you're looking around. Like people are listening to this. It's also on YouTube, but you're just looking around like, oh, okay. I guess I have to read in the
Yeah. Okay. No lights. All right. She didn't pay the bill. So yeah, you just but what it did was, yes, I think I was happy, but I was dealing with every like adults figuring their
Mhm.
shit out.
Yes.
So it just made me be the result of it was I became uber responsible and uber focused
That's
on
good.
on like I'll, I know this sounds so weird to say, but I was in my head like I'll never be in this position. I'll do whatever I can to keep that light bill on.
Well, I understand because I feel like that as a parent that there's things
Mhm.
I would never do. Like I do things differently than things that
Mhm.
I went through. Like I'll never do that with my own kids.
Yeah.
Um,
I've I haven't even made that decision if I would ever have kids because I think part of me worries um of like, okay, I know I can take care of myself. I know my partner and I can take care of each other, but like when you throw kids in the mix, it's
it's
like,
tough.
ooh, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot,
I know. Trust me, it's
So
not easy.
I'm taking the safer route right now in that I don't have them. If that changes, I don't know, but it scares me.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that. It's I talk.
Hmm.
Do you still feel like you're alone a lot? Do you like when you're alone? Is it hard for you? Like I have a hard time being alone now. I, I'm
Um,
I still
I
have
don't
a hard
mind it.
time with that.
I don't mind it.
That's
Uh,
good.
I mean, this, I, I, the first week of this quarantine stuff was hard for me, just wiping my calendar completely clear. But like a lot of people right now, the big concern was like, oh, I just want to make sure I can pay my bills, and
Hmm.
that was the more anxiety for me. It wasn't as much like, oh, I got to sit around and not do anything. I think I adjusted that easier than I thought I would. I was like, oh, I like this sitting around
Well,
thing.
yeah, I know. I'm a homebody, so I like it, but I have
Yeah,
young
but you don't
kids,
like being
so
alone.
well, I don't love being alone on the road. I can get
Okay.
very like down, and it's hard for me to just wake
Hmm.
up and do good things for myself. Like
Yeah.
comics, like I went for a run, and then I went to get a good
Hmm.
meal at the vegetarian. I'm like, oh my god, I can barely
Like Michelle Wolf
function.
running all over the city.
Yeah, there's people who like go for runs. I'm like, you're fucking
Yeah.
crazy, but it's
I
great.
I'm not like Jack. My partner's with me a lot now, so
Hmm.
I'm not alone much. But I did do a year in right after I graduated college. I moved to Spain for a year,
Oh wow.
and I lived in Sevilla. And I don't know, I don't know still to this day why I did that. But I just kind of wanted. I think I didn't want not having money to keep me from seeing the world. I think I was trying to
Yeah.
prove something to myself. Um, so I moved there for a year to learn Spanish and teach English and stuff. And when I tell you I've never felt that kind of alone in my
Oh
life. Where it was 2002, so there was no Wi-Fi. You if you wanted internet, you had to go to the cafe,
and it
and
went
yeah. And every
yeah.
minute you're on, you see like the dollars amount you're spending. So you're
I
like,
remember that. Typing as fast as you can.
quickly writing,
Yeah.
and then no one had cell phones were just kind of becoming a thing. So to call home costs a lot of money. So I was so isolated. I didn't have many friends, and I spent an entire year just alone, and that was hard, and it made me like even more like fairly introverted now. A lot of people don't realize that about me, but it made me super introverted to the point where once I came home, I was not normal for like the next 2 years.
When you say not
like
when you
like I
say
didn't
not
know how to
normal, what does that
socially.
mean?
I didn't know how to be social.
You were like, "Hi,
And
I
I had been social my whole life. I'd always been had lots
yeah."
of friends, and like I moved because I moved from Spain to LA.
Oh.
People thought I was the biggest dork. I couldn't make friends.
What made
I
you
didn't
move
know.
to LA?
So, when I graduated college, my our commencement speaker was an actress, and I was the student speaker, and we hit it off. She through a series of random events that later that summer ended up uh, offering me a job as her assistant. But I
Wow.
had plans to live in Spain for a year, and I naively was like, "Hey, I'm going to Spain, but
To
if
not
it's
speak for a year.
yeah, I go, but if it's if you still need somebody, come, next summer, I'm in. And somehow it worked. That worked out. I actually had to leave Spain a month early because I ran out of money. Um, and
Wow.
I wrote her very quickly uh in the internet cafe, do you still need somebody? And she goes, yeah. And I
And that's how
flew
it all
home.
started with you
Yeah.
being in the business?
Yeah,
So interesting.
I didn't set out to be a comedian.
What did you want to do? Did you have like a thing you wanted to do?
I thought I was gonna I think I knew that whatever I wanted, I didn't know what it was, and whatever I thought I was supposed to do wasn't gonna be fulfilling. So I
Yeah.
was trying to prolong making that decision, which is what I think Spain was. Because I thought, well, after I get back from Spain, I'll go to get my like master's degree, but in what? I don't know. And so then when she offered me that, it allowed me to prolong making that decision again. I was like, oh, well, I'll just do this job for her as a life experience, and didn't really know what that would lead to. I do remember thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to like, I didn't know what the business was or how to do anything, but I remember
Mhm.
thinking, oh, it'd be cool to like get a book and turn it into a movie. But I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know what
Yeah.
I and so I just kind of like I worked for her for like 2 years and just sort of watched everybody because I was an introvert and not no friends for like my first 2 years out here, and just sort of tried to figure it out as I went. And
How
then
did you get on stage the first? Like how did that even happen if you're an introvert?
so I was so desperate to make friends because I was getting depressed.
Mhm.
Um, because in my hometown, you knew everybody and they all knew you, and I knew everyone at my college, and I was like, my desperation was starting to eke out of me with that thing where you're like, I promise I'm cool, and and everyone's like, we don't believe you. So I was like, I gotta make friends. And so because I had sort of had this come to Jesus moment, and I called my mom like so sad, and I was like, I don't have friends. I don't know what to do. And she's like, do you want to move home? I said, God, no.
Yeah, you're like
And
that'll ruin me. That's it.
yeah. And she goes, well, do something about it. And I was like, huh? She's like, go make friends. And I was like, okay. So
Okay.
okay, okay. So I joined all these sports teams,
Mhm.
and I started slowly making friends. I started feeling normal again, and then that led to me having the confidence to go do an improv class at the Groundlings.
Oh, that's great. I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
I started as like the fun classes where there's no
Yeah.
pressure, you're not auditioning for anything. And I just fell in love with it like
Yeah.
day one.
That's a good
And
message for people that are listening to this because so many people are stuck. And what you're saying is you took
mhm,
action. Like I always say that you
yeah.
took action. You went and joined, you went into sports to make friends
Yeah.
because so many people,
Well,
including me, will just sit home and talk about the same thing over and over.
mhm.
And I don't take action.
Well, which is
I,
what I was doing, and my mom basically said, "You have 2 options. You can move home and, move in back in with me," and I'm like, I'm desperate to do anything but that.
you're like, I don't care what I have to do.
And she says, "Or you can do something about it, but you cannot be sad for this and let it you can be sad, but you can't let it continue."
Hmm.
And so I did just have to sort of take the bull by the horns. And because in LA, I don't know if New York is similar. LA is very much like, yeah, we'll hang out sometime. Yeah,
Oh,
let's get a
yeah.
coffee. And then that it never happened. So I had to like really that whole year I would meet people and be like, okay, what are you doing this date? And
Hmm.
then I ended up making lots of really great friends.
Yeah, you're
Um,
so good. You seem like you've always been like a survivor. Like you just make it work.
yeah,
Whatever
I mean,
hurdle.
I think that's from the scarcity thing, growing up,
Yeah.
seeing the chaos around me. I guess I was always just determined to like find what does the happiness look like? What do you think happiness looks like, and how do you achieve that? And for me, it was having peace, um, and not having chaos, and having friends. And so it was like, well, you can choose to have peace by
Hmm.
like who you let in your life and who you date. And
Are you
uh
like that now? Like, are you very specific about who you let in your life, who you get close to, and stuff like that?
yeah, I mean, dating wise, I made a lot of mistakes.
Me too.
You
God.
know,
Yeah.
I was people were so baffled because I would always have really great taste in friends. I had wonderful people around me. Always my whole life had really solid, lovely friends. But I was just picking some real doozies in
I
the other
know.
department.
Yeah, I
And
can
I don't know
so relate to
why.
that. I
I don't
think
know.
because when it comes to, for me, when it comes to relationship, a lot of times you pick like mom or dad. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different than a friendship. And I've had people
Yeah.
say to me, like, Jessica, you are so pathetic in a relationship. Like, you're so strong on stage. You're so
Yeah.
powerful. You have the greatest friends in your life and people around you, and even in
Mhm.
business. But when it comes to relationships, boy, you are
Samesies.
crazy.
Samesies. Yeah, I remember like I had been on Chelsea for a few years. I was like selling some TV shows, like things were going good, and so I would have this like these big things, and then in my personal life was just like, what's going
I know.
on? Like,
You're just crying. I would be crying everywhere.
and you're just
Like, I have
like,
a meeting at NBC and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to be okay. Hi, how are you? I have a great show idea.
so
My
you
mother's
just
a
could I could
therapist.
never my good friends like could never they're like, I don't get it. You have so like everything in the world going for you. But then I went to therapy for like 3 years and
Yeah. That's why you met
dug
someone
tried to
good. Yeah.
yeah. I finally had to like repair that thing, whatever that thing was I needed to repair. Not that I'm totally healed or whatever you want to call it. And you're always evolving, but it finally allowed me to like make space for
Hmm.
something that mattered and that was good for me.
Yeah. I love her.
She's
I
great.
do. I love her so much. She's so
Yeah.
great. She's so like just fits in and is easy to be
Mhm.
around and fun. And
Yeah. We've been
yeah,
together almost 5 years
it's
now,
great.
which is crazy because before her I think the longest was maybe like a year, but like we weren't even like in a committed thing.
Hmm.
So like yeah, I never really experienced a true committed relationship.
I have a great
Aside from one person.
I have a great quote. Say this to people all the time. Rejection is God's protection.
It's
I love
true.
that quote. I didn't come up with
Mhm.
it. I mean, I wish I could say I did because but it's
God
so
did.
true. Like the Lord did. The Lord came up. But it's really
It's so
true.
true, yeah. I mean,
It
that I was saved in many instances from getting rejected.
Mhm. When did you come out?
I was 25, which I think is also what added to my ma making the wrong decisions.
Mhm.
Because a lot of got to date when they were in high school, college, so people got to make mistakes as a
Mhm.
young person. When you're 25, I came out at 25, but I still didn't really date for a while because I was kind of intimidated by
Oh,
women.
that's so hard.
Yeah, and so I was making all these mistakes in my late 20s, thinking I'm too old to be making these kind of mistakes. Early 30s, and but it's because
Yeah.
I didn't get to learn from it
I didn't
earlier on.
either. Yeah, I came out later, but did you
Yeah.
did you always feel like you were different? Did you always
Yeah.
feel yeah.
I knew something was off,
Mhm.
quote unquote. But I didn't know what that meant. I mean, it seemed I was in my special was trying to describe it like because it seems so like now a lot of people are coming out so much younger and all these signs. People are like, yeah, of course that person's gay, duh. And you're like, yeah, yeah, and it's not, But back then it was so different. People, at least in my hometown, because I'm from a small town in the South, no one talked about gay people
No
ever.
one did in my town either.
It
It
wasn't
was
like because everyone's just assuming everyone's gay bashing. I'm like they just didn't even think they weren't even talking about gay people. It wasn't
yeah.
on anyone's radar. So and I didn't know any gay people. I didn't know anyone who was out. I didn't know anyone who I thought might be out like gay was usually married. And there was no like the media wasn't the same. No YouTube.
Mhm.
Like now there's like a million gay YouTube stars.
Yeah, there was like Richard
Uh
Simmons when I was coming and
yeah,
like
who
it was
was straight? I don't know.
yeah.
And
Was he ever straight? I mean,
I
meaning like
don't
was he ever
know.
I feel like he was like, "Mommy, I want my milk." Like
Like I think he just didn't date anyone. Like kind of more on the asexual.
do you know I'm obsessed with him? He's still
Eh,
missing. I'm
I,
obsessed with it. Where
I
is he?
yeah. This quarantine's not affecting him.
He's been quarantined for years. I'm not kidding. He has not been seen for
I
years.
used to go to his some of his workout classes here in LA.
Really?
He
Oh,
used to
that's
teach them,
awesome.
and he would go, "Where have you been?" Whenever I wouldn't come for like a month, and he was so lovely. And then one day, just closed it down and hasn't been seen from since.
He's smart.
Um, yeah, he was ahead of the curve. The rest of us were like, "What do we do?" He's probably got like 5 years of groceries in his house.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, so yeah, it just so the gay thing was like I knew I looking back, it was all very clear. Like, of course you're gay from the time you were born, but
Mhm.
I didn't know it when I was growing up, and no one was like saying, "Oh, you're gay." I wasn't getting like gay
Yeah.
bashed, and I like it just was a non thing. But I knew I was too intense about certain friends, and that's
Yeah. I was
all
like
I
that
knew.
too.
Yeah.
I was like I'd get jealous. I
Mhm.
didn't know what that meant, but I would get I feel like I emotionally fell in love with certain friends.
Oh,
It wasn't even a physical
100%.
thing at all.
I remember the first time was like 7th grade. There was a girl in ninth grade on my basketball team who moved mid-season, and I like
I don't know why I'm laughing or
I like bawled the whole night after
that
she said,
reminds
and you're like, "What?
Meanwhile,
Why?"
yeah, like
So my mom would just be like, my mom was always like, "What? What?"
well, my
Like she's
mom the
she's
same
just
when I
moving
came out yeah,
away.
when I came out to her that I was with my friend Melissa, my mom
Yeah.
was like, it's obvious like every time she leaves, you're bawling. Like you don't do that. I was like, well, uh,
Just so angsty, right?
of
Just like,
course.
ugh.
And
You know,
then you're like,
how
why the fuck do am I so upset that she left? It's very confusing.
and I could feel myself like at different points, like in my head going, "Oh, you gotta like, why are you're being too intense. You have to stop." But I couldn't
I
stop.
know. I can relate to
So,
that. What made you come out? Like, if you weren't with someone, that's interesting to me. Because normally, if
right.
someone's like in love with someone in a relationship, they come out. But you're like, I'm a lesbian and I don't have, there's no one in my life. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was real backwards. I think that what happened was I eventually moved to LA, and in that first year, I still was just trying to figure out LA. It wasn't on my mind. And then the next year, it was kind of like starting to bubble up, right? Like,
Hmm.
oh, what is what is this thing? What am I,
Yeah.
why am I noticing that girl? That's weird. What's going on? And I was seeing gay people now and out and about. It was very normal, and you're like, oh, it's not like this scary thing. Like, look at them; they're having a great time. They're having more fun than all of us. And
Yeah.
then the L word. There's a lot of little things. The L word came out,
Yes,
and
that was a big thing for a lot of people, the L word.
yeah, it
Yep.
was. And I bought like some bootleg copies off of Craigslist because we were poor and didn't have Showtime. And I remember like going in my bedroom. I had two roommates, and I went in my bedroom and locked the door and made sure like no one was home that night. And I started watching it, and just like my head was like exploding, like
I remember that too.
what?
You were like,
Um,
yeah. I thought
so
some of
that
them were so hot. So
yeah,
hot. I was freaking
it
out during that show. I was
well,
like,
and it was like it wasn't even like I mean, it certainly got like very sensational and crazy, but the beginning was very just seeing like this group of women like have coffee together and be like
yeah.
an arm around like little things like that were like blowing my mind. And so that definitely awakened something.
Hmm.
And then I talk about my special again, and it's a true story. As I was watching a Lifetime movie, and it was called the Truth About Jane, and the Soccer Channing was in this movie,
She's
and
awesome.
so this girl in high school was basically came out of the closet and went through this whole journey where her mom was very against it, and then at the end it's like hurrah, yay, you're gay, I love you. And it was the first time that I was like, I said out loud, I was like, oh my god, I'm gay.
Yeah.
and and it was then the realization that I came out watching a Lifetime movie set in, and I was so embarrassed.
It's the worst.
So I did
Good for
one.
Lifetime, though. That's good. I mean,
Yeah,
there are movies, everyone makes
that
fun
was
of it, but it made you,
2005.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, how did your family react?
So I came to terms with it myself first, and I didn't tell them for like a good 6 months, I would say. So I had like joined a softball team.
Of
I didn't realize I
course.
was gay and went straight to like softball team. I gotta find the nearest softball team because I didn't have any gay friends. Um,
I love that that's where it is where women go to, girls
yeah,
go to meet other lesbians. Yeah.
it ended up being the best thing I ever did because I got in this like gay softball league, and I met all these gay people, and we started traveling, playing like we were hardcore softball players, like we were playing in tournaments all over the country.
That's awesome.
And then that was where like I played in the gay games in 2006, just
You
like a year
did?
later.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in Chicago, so I was like I got to spend a week of just like super gay stuff. And I was the like new out person. Like everything was like, yeah,
Y-
rainbow flag.
yeah, you just see rainbows everywhere when you
Yeah.
first, yeah.
So that was a big gay education for me. But I did not come out like the only hard part is I came out not having a relate. It's like something like you
Mhm.
said, some people like meet somebody and then they're like in a thing and they're figuring it
Mhm.
out with someone. But I was just kind of I'm gay and now what? And so I had to figure out how to be gay.
And then you told your family, and were
Oh yeah,
they
my family. So I flew home with the intent of I'm telling everybody, and my mom was the first person I told in the Chinese restaurant, and she just was like very introspective, like kind of a little sad, but I think it
Mhm.
was like her just not wanting my life to be more difficult than it had to be.
That's exactly my
Um,
parents'
no,
response. That's
mhm.
exactly how they felt. They just didn't want me to go through hell.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want people to be mean to you, and
Mhm.
and also that this like I think every parent probably has some sort of idea of what they think their kid's life might look like, and
Mhm.
so she was having to kind of adjust that vision. And so for her, it was like an acceptance, but like a more like it's going to take me a little while to get used to this kind of thing.
Mhm.
And my dad, we then went. I said to my dad, she came with me because they're divorced, like I said, and uh, my dad's a real simple guy, so we don't have deep
Mhm.
conversations ever. And I took him to I don't know, we went to the park for some reason, and, I was like, "Dad, I gotta tell you something."
That's where you have an intense conversation is a park,
Yeah, in a
like an
park, but
open space.
it was because it was part of, like, they're having, like, some festival kinda thing around, and, I'm like, "Okay." He's like, okay, yep, oh, okay, 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 yeah, you're my daughter. You're my
Ah,
daughter. I love you." And he kept repeating himself for, like, literally, like, 10 minutes because he just didn't know what to say.
right.
He wanted to get across that he loved me,
Mhm.
but he also was like, we're, like, sharing feelings, and this is too much." And,
Yeah.
so my mom's like, "Mike, she knows she's your daughter. She is telling you she's gay." And they start fighting, and I'm
Oh,
like,
they did?
"Y'all," just like like the old bickering. Um, Ginger, I'm just telling her she's my daughter. I love her.
Oh,
She
this is hysterical. She needs
knows.
your support.
So
She knows she's your daughter.
yeah. So then I'm all like, okay, okay, everybody.
Right, then
And
you're
then
helping them and making sure they're
yeah,
okay.
and then my brothers were like, duh. They were just like, yeah, we've pretty much known since you were born. I was like, oh, well, thanks for telling me that, you little fuckers.
I always say when I told my sister I was with my first partner, Melissa,
Hmm.
it sounds so weird to say partner, whatever.
Yeah.
I was I'm like, you're never gonna be okay with it. Like out of my mind. And she thought I had cancer. I swear to
Oh
God, she thought I
wow.
was dying.
Yeah.
And when I told her, she was so relieved. She literally thought that like something horrific
Yeah.
was
Well,
going
because
on. The way
to
I
us, it's
presented
so
it.
yeah, we're so scared. We don't know
Do
how
you
people are gonna
feel
react.
do you feel like very comfortable with it now? Like even though you're in a relationship, do you
Hmm.
feel like that?
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
I yeah, I mean, as soon as I came out, it felt like I had like the final missing puzzle piece was
Mhm.
to get like put together. And that probably is also where a lot of my positivity comes from. Um is
Mm.
I finally felt whole. Like my whole time before that something felt missing.
I know what
And
you
so
mean.
yeah, so I felt like I was happy to an extent, but then there was always this thing of like something's missing. And once I discovered this truth, and it was almost like you can't stop me now. I know who I am.
And you're
Like this,
free. You're free
and you're
from that
free.
bondage of not being who you really are and
Yeah. So it gave me a sense of levity I had never felt before. Everything had felt a little heavier before that. And
yeah.
and so I think that's where a lot of my positivity comes from because it's like, hey, I went through shit. I made it through that, and I know who I am now. I'm good. And
I love that.
there's a sense of peace with that for me.
Do you feel like you get like now in the business? I mean, so many comics, and it's like what we were just talking about having to cancel all that work. My
Yeah,
God. But do
yeah.
you get anxious and depressed in the business, like with the business stuff ever, like a lot, or does that affect you? It's
I
so up
was
and down. It's just,
Yeah, I was really. It was hard. It was really hard at first. Those first 10 years because no one got me, and it was a time in the business where being different wasn't celebrated.
hmm
So if you were different, they just didn't know what to do with you. So I was getting really close to getting like all my big break. I'd like tested twice for like SNL in New York,
oh,
and
it's so
I
hard.
just kept hitting these walls of people just being like, well, this group of people, they really love you, but this person with all the power
hmm
doesn't get it. And I was getting that a lot. So that was very frustrating for me because I didn't know how to be anything but a version of this. I can put on wigs and I can act, but like there's still an aura that's
hmm
of me that's gonna always be there. So I was really banging my head against the wall for many uh for that whole first 10 years. And then my big break came in that Chelsea Handler hired me, and she was the first person in power, position of power that said, you know, "You're different, and I want it on my TV show."
Did she
And
see you perform? Is that what happened? Or
she
did you?
saw, I submitted, as a writer
Oh.
first.
Mhm.
So I submitted a writing packet, but I think they had shown her videos of me as like a Hooters waitress. uh, Joe Coy tells me that long before I even applied for a writer's position, they were somehow watching that video on YouTube. And because I was barely known, like no one really knew who I was then. I'd just done Last Comic Standing, and that was it.
You
But
never know who's watching, 'cause a lot of comics listen to this. A
mhm.
lot of comics listen to this podcast. You
Yeah, you never
never,
know.
ever, ever know who is listening or watching you
Yeah,
or anything. It's
I didn't think.
really
Yeah, I
cool.
didn't think she knew who I
Mhm.
was, or I just did this silly video in my the alley of you know,
I love you
my
so
friend's
much.
apartment, and there she was, probably on a private plane, I think, with Joe watching this video, and then cut to like 6 months later, I applied for a writer's job and went through the producer's session, and then met with her, and then she hired me. They hired me like the next day, and that really, I mean, I've been very lucky. I've been working fairly steady
Mhm.
since that day.
But you put so much into it. Like that's the other thing. There's so many comics performers who are like, no one ever sees me. I'm never. It's like you got to put a ton of stuff out there. You're always putting out
Yeah,
content.
I mean, I never knew like where. I never knew what to put my energy into, so I just put it in everything. So even early on during those years where nobody was really understanding me or my voice, I was at the Groundlings for 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
I went through that whole program, and I was very deep in sketch and improv, and a lot of people don't even know that I do all that stuff. And
Yeah.
but that
You're
was where all my
so funny
training
at
came
that shit.
from.
And that's
I
the
because I don't
best.
I don't put a lot of just my few characters I put out there, but I have this whole slew of characters no one's ever seen. So I started in that, and then I wasn't getting anywhere with that, and then I'd always wanted to try stand up, and once I tried stand up, I was like, "Oh, this feels so right." But I loved this other part so much too, so I kept them both going, and so I'm always like uh putting my eggs in different baskets. It's like
Yeah.
acting will start to rise, and then stand up will come down a little bit, and then acting will go
Mhm.
down, and stand up will, it's always
That's
it's
good. That's
good.
what you need to
Yeah,
do.
you got to do a lot of stuff. But even before Chelsea hired me, I was doing like a bazillion shows a week, which in for
I
LA
know.
comics, we usually like to do like, oh, we'll do like one or two spots a week,
Mhm.
which I'm guilty of now. But in that beginning time, I was doing like every night shows and sketch and ground, like working all the time, not getting paid a lick, but just hoping that one day it would it would prep me for whatever opportunity came my way, and luckily
Yeah.
it did.
It's work ethic and it's commitment and it's not easy and you have to put a ton of stuff out there and hope that
Mhm.
certain things stick and that's
Yeah.
there's so many great comics who have no business sense. It's actually sad because they can't get
Well,
ahead because
yeah.
they don't know how.
Yeah, and it's like business is not the business part's not necessarily my forte either. I just had to learn how to navigate it.
Mhm.
But we've learned through, the where we're at with media, like people get famous for putting YouTube videos up every week, of like, oh, here's a guy who like pets his dog for an hour.
That's his
Eh,
dog. I
everyone
know.
knows
Have you
the
seen the thing?
everyone knows the pet the dog guy, whoever it is.
I
I'm just
Well, what about the people who make sounds when they eat? I forgot what it's called. They go,
Oh
have you
yeah.
seen that?
I
It's
haven't I
unreal.
haven't but it's like we're competing. It's not just, not only are there like a crap ton more comics than there used to be, but they're like every person I know who had some sort of platform is like, oh, I'm doing stand up now. You're like, what?
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So you're just having to like find your little piece of, where's your little plot of land,
Mhm.
and how can you like keep your flag flying on your plot of land is kind of how I look at it. Is, and so I just keep working on, I'm always working. I'm never not working except for during a quarantine. Um
Except for during a
because again, that scarcity thing, you're just like, what if it goes away? What if in,
No, I actually
10 years they
believe
don't want this?
that it's people that are not at our level who are going to end up stopping. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that we're just going to keep doing it. Obviously, what else am I going to do? I'm going to be a temp now. But
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
what we
we already
love.
have the base and and a lot of us have the follow like people that love what we do. So it's like I think we'll be okay. But I
Mhm.
think people that don't have that are going to have a really hard time.
Yeah, it's a weird time because none of us know what is stand up going to look like after this, because it's crowds, it's people in a lot of people in one space. So we're just kind of all bracing ourselves for, we will get through this, and stand up will come back in
Oh
whatever
yeah.
form. It might have to start small and then build back up to once everyone's healthy. But
Maybe we'll have
I'm
to go outside and perform for one person 6 feet away and then move
what
another six
yeah,
feet and perform for another.
whatever it takes. I think stand-ups will be so happy to just get to do something,
Yeah,
uh
me too.
stand-up wise, once we can.
Well, I love you. I am
I love
so
you.
grateful that you did this because you don't have to, like, even though you're home, and what excuse would you have? I mean, seriously.
I mean,
Could you
that's the
imagine?
thing. I can't say, oh, my
I'm
calendar's
busy.
full. No, the people,
I
I just sometimes don't respond to.
Me too, because I keep getting asked to do things, and I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
I'm not emotionally okay to do everything right now. That's the truth.
That
I'm being
that's
honest.
that's where I'm at too.
Yeah,
I was happy to talk to you because you're my friend and you're so
right.
funny and I love talking to you. Uh, but I've been asked to do some more like stand up type
Me
things
too.
or
I can't do it.
storytelling type things, and I
I
don't have it in
can't.
me right
Me
now.
either. Me
So
either.
I don't want to fake it.
I'm the same way. I've been asked, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm going through a lot. I can't.
Mhm.
I can't do it right now. But reach out to
Yeah,
me
and
in.
yeah, because you're trying to make sure you're okay, but you have kids. You guys with kids out there have so much on your plates, just trying to get them okay and homeschooled and
Well,
you
it's
know.
fine. I mean, the great thing is that if the food supply ends, I'll be able to eat my children. So I'll be fine.
What if they, unless they eat you
I
first?
know they'll all eat me. Mama's big and delicious. Yeah.
You better watch
Well,
your back.
I know that's true. Can you imagine they start gnawing on me because they're hungry and there's no food? I
Hopefully
am
hopefully we don't get to that point.
no, I'm joking. It'll never get to that point. I'm so grateful to you and you're brilliant. You've made me laugh
Oh, thank
so
you.
hard. I can't even and you're such a good I know this is all uncomfortable to hear, but you're such a great human. I know, I'm
No,
sorry.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You're so
Yeah.
sweet.
And I'm so excited for this to come out because people love you and it's an honor that you did my podcast.
Well,
I
I'm so glad I got to talk to you. It made my heart feel good for a whole
Oh.
hour.
Oh, that's
You're
so
the best.
good. Send your lady my love.
I will. Send your whole family my love.
I will. I definitely will. And we will talk very soon.
All right, my friend.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We can talk.
Yeah.
We're like,
Okay.
yeah, they'll edit this
Bye.
out. Bye. Thank
Yeah.
you so much again for
Of
doing
course.
this. I
I mean,
appreciate it.
yeah, I